Live from Rosati's.
Sports fans, I'm Michael Sakala.
And I'm Brandon Wicker.
And how the hell are you?
Coming to you live from Rosati's again.
And like, week after week I usually wear some type of silly hat, outfit, Halloween I was, Scarface, etc. So you're probably wondering why is he wearing what he's wearing now.
Everyone is still wondering what you were last week.
What was I last? Oh, last week I was the masked cowboy fan. I mean, when you go 4-12, you got to cover yourself up sometimes.
I see you're not covered up today, though.
Nah, but because I figured, you know what? I put it on my new wig. I figure if Urlacher can do it, why can't I, for Christ's sake? You know what? I'm done with it. From now on, I'm just going to wear my wig and be done with it. I'm not doing the comb over yet, but I will go with this look for
Folks, before we really get into football, I opted for the Cubs Anthony Rizzo jersey, which Santa was happy, to bring me. And of course, I was happy. And for right now, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not really sure what this is sitting next to me, but he's got some fun football facts for
Yes,
me.
I figured before we get into the playoffs and start talking about these 4 exciting games, I got some fun facts here. And lo and behold, it doesn't, the first fact I have to talk about has to do with my Cowboys. I mean, you can say what you want, but I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the Harris poll, but you can look it up. He started this back in 1998, and it basically, he polls people to find out who is the most popular team. And once again, the Dallas Cowboys are America's team, as they have topped the poll as the most popular team in the NFL. As a matter of fact, the top 5 are the Dallas Cowboys at number 1. Apparently, 30 to 64-year-old Southerners, blacks, and Hispanics seem to favor the Dallas Cowboys. Whereas your Packers came in number 2, where women, Midwesterns, whites, 18 to 24-year-old, and 65 plus seem to favor the Packers. Pats came in number 3. They seem to be the most popular team on the East Coast. The Broncos were number 4. They were actually number 1 last year. And the Steelers seem to be captured at 25 to 29-year-old people. Another interesting fact is...
we might want to get this to the producer.
Oh, yes,
so
this way she can get that in. That's my poll.
His losing football playoff poll.
Poll. Another interesting fact is they polled 54% of football fans would like to see the Super Bowl actually moved to the weekend of the President's Day weekend, simply so they can have Monday off, so they can rest because they were up all night drinking and rooting for their favorite team or they're up. You think of that?
I would just like to check with anybody. Did anybody actually get this poll, the Harris poll, or any of it? Because really, the next shuttle even for Mars is in 20 minutes.
And then another interesting poll was they polled 46% of people prefer to watch the Super Bowl in the comforts of their own home. Lastly,
I gotta say on that one, I'm 50-50. I've done it both. They both turned out all right.
I think most people end up going to someone's house party, and then by halftime, if it's not a decent game, you end up going home and watch the second half. Or if you got to get up in the morning, unless it's President's Day, you stay for the whole game.
So you getting up in the morning never constituted me missing the game, never.
Yeah. Well, for some of us who go to bed at 8 o'clock, it's tough.
Well, see, then you have to bite the bullet and watch the game and get up
It's
to
true.
work.
It's true. But the coffee's not strong enough. I need some good Cuban coffee.
You're drinking the wrong one.
Least favorite NFL team is, a little drum roll, no, it's not the Detroit Lions, it is the actual Jacksonville Jaguars
I
came
find it hard to
in
believe.
as the least favorite NFL team. So there are your fun facts for the 2015, /16 season.
Given to you by Paul Blart, the football cop.
That's yes, exactly. Now, do you want to just jump right into game 1? We got the Chiefs and
Yeah,
Texans.
that's the game 1. Go ahead.
Who do you got for Chiefs and Texans? Who do you got?
I think on that one we're going to agree. Although when you asked me earlier in the week, I told you I am picking the Chiefs. I will not be astounded if the Texans win. They went through a scenario the Chiefs' last 8 playoff games, and in each matchup they were dominated by a superior quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at this one, it's Alex Smith against Hoyer. So it's kind of,
It's Hall of Famer against Hall of Famer.
one thing I find interesting is we have put him in his place several times. the entire Houston Texans roster is up, ready, gung-ho, and healthy, and ready to play, except for Jadeveon Clowney.
Of course.
How do you like that one?
He is, he's a #1 pick, if I remember a couple of years ago, and you love that about him, and you love that this guy seems to be hurt, time and time again.
He just doesn't live up to his billing.
Nah, sometimes they never do.
So like I said, you can add what you like. I'm going Chiefs. Like I said, won't be astounded though if Texans win the game.
Nah, I mean, everybody pretty much calling this a defensive game. To me, the Chiefs just got to play like they've been doing all year. Just play, mistake-free football. Try to get a big play when they can and get the ball in Mappin's hands as
the
much
whole
as
thing is
possible.
can they get enough offense on the board?
Because they're going to be up against, like you said, this defense, and like I put on here, J.J. Watt basically needs to just place a home on Alex Smith if the Texans are going to win this game.
This game could come down to field goal kicking.
Yeah, yes, you could. But at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs have just enough to get by the Texans, and I got them basically winning 24-17. It's a nice intro game into the playoffs. We're going to watch two hard-nosed defensive teams battle it out, kind of go back and forth with one another. It could turn into a field goal to win the game.
That one's going to be Saturday's early game.
Yes, and then the Saturday night game, you got Pittsburgh heading to Cincinnati.
And I'm assuming on that one, that's the one we differ on when we talked earlier in the week. The only thing that's going to bother me a little bit is if Dalton's going to come back, if he is going to play in this, will he be all rusty? He was really ready to go if he hadn't had this thumb and show me a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I gotta tell you, I just think it's Cincinnati's time, and the fact that Pittsburgh lost Antonio Williams, or D'Angelo Williams, sorry, at running back, boy, that hurt, because he was doing it all. He was making them not miss their lead running back. He was that creates their passing game. And ever since Ben, he had those two injuries. He was on like a 6-game roll or something, and he just hasn't been as fine. I don't know. I just feel it's Bengals, and I know you disagree, but that's what football's about.
Basically, it's like, can the Bengals finally win in the first round and move on? And I wrote down that the Steelers are basically they've won 9 of the last 12 matchups. Pittsburgh has been up and down all season. One weekend, they look like their offense is unstoppable, and then the next week they start to kind of trip and fall over themselves. Like I said, D'Angelo's not playing, so look for Big Ben to throw that ball probably 50+ times. He'll probably be in shotgun the whole entire game. Pittsburgh's defense just has to do enough. Make AJ, put him in 3rd and longs and force him to make plays. That's what their defense is. It's kind of like that bend and break mentality. And for the Bengals, ball control. Keep that high-powered offense off the field. They can't score if they're on the sidelines. And for the Bengals defense, it's strong. They need to force turnovers. And like I put in here, with Big Ben throwing more footballs than he does pickup lines at barroom restrooms, you just gotta hope for turnovers. But at the end of the day, just like there was no charges and he was set home free, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be moving on to the second.
Will he be throwing more complete passes or interceptions?
Then you wonder.
Just
when you're
one
throwing the ball
more
that
thing
many times.
before you move on. All year long, or at least the first half of the year, you were trying to get me to drink the Cincinnati Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I'm taking a sip of it before this night game, and of course, if Pittsburgh wins, I'll be throwing up that Kool-Aid.
Of course. I got Pittsburgh winning this 34-31, and then I guess the next question everyone's going to ask is, what's his name, Marvin Lewis, does he keep his job, I guess? Again, he gets them to where he needs to get them, but they just can't seem to get over that hump. At what point do you go Tampa Bay Bucks years ago and you bring in, not that you bring in group, but you bring in a guy that you were under the impression can take the same group of players and win the next
Which
round.
they paid for, remember, with draft picks and bought.
I don't know, because they have a really, the Bengals have a really strong, complete team, and we're going to start talking like the Cardinals, but they just always seem to come up short.
We'll talk a little bit more about coaches after we get the other two done, so let's move on to Sunday.
Sunday morning, if I can go Dean Martin on you, baby, it's cold outside. Going to be negative 23 degrees. I'll tell you what.
Sounded like
Minnesota-
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it could be, you know. I'll tell you what, Minnesota, you should have sped up your construction and got that stadium finished a little bit sooner so you would be outside freezing your kahoonies. What do you got for this game? The Seahawks and the Vikings.
They were making a big deal about the Skittle Boy plan, and I'm like, hey, they've been winning without Skittles. Who needs him in there to upset the apple cart? So apparently now he's not playing, and that's not a factor for me at all.
Well, Skittles, our boy Beast Mode, apparently his belly hurts, like you said. He's not even traveling with the team, but I'm just saying that so the producer doesn't find me.
And like I said, they've been okay without him. They've been doing running and throwing more. Obviously, I have Seattle, and it's only because mainly Minnesota's inexperience. Remember, I told you at the beginning of the year what team scared me the most in my division. It was Minnesota. And as far as last week's game went, Green Bay could have won it. That game could have went either way, but I am actually glad I'm going to DC instead.
Yeah, I think they made out better on that.
But I'm going Seattle.
I think with Seattle, they just got to shut down AP. Shut him down first and second down, like I put in here.
I don't think Bridgewater can throw all over that.
No, I put on here like a bridge over Teddy's water. Make him throw it down. Make Teddy beat you. And I don't see him doing that. Like I said, there's no beast mode, but for the Vikings, it's just the polar opposite. AP all day. Break out the whipping stick, and like your dad used to when you were younger, beat that horse all day, all night. Make him do it. Make him run hard, wear down that defense, and after a while, he's going to start he'll break tackles, and eventually, maybe you do open up the passing game. But
That's their main weapon right there.
With that type of temperature, that ball turns into like a rock. Nobody wants to throw it. Nobody feels like catching it. It's going to be an ugly game. Like I said, they should have built the stadium a little bit faster. But I got the Seahawks winning this, 17-14. It'll be a really nice defensive, cold, frozen tundra, all that kind of stuff, kind of game. But I do think Seattle just has just enough to beat the Seahawks. And then we finish with the nightcap with the Packers and the Skins.
And I will take nothing away from the Skins at all. I thought they've been playing good football. I did mention, obviously, I'm happier to play the Redskins as opposed to Seattle. And then, like I told you earlier in the week, on that game also, obviously I'm going to root for Green Bay, they're my team, but if the Redskins win that game, it will not surprise me. And vice versa, I told you, if Green Bay wins that game, I feel that's it. Their next move is out of the playoffs. That's the way I feel. The way they've been playing, I can't say anything. That's why I have the Cubs jersey today.
As far as I go back and forth, and to me, the Packers, he's got to get back to his discount double check days. They got to move him out of the pocket. You got to let him roll because he's probably one of the best quarterbacks on the run. We all know
you're right. Offensive line has been a problem, but you can't cry.
You got to maneuver him around more, and it's not like it would take him out of his element. That Super Bowl run they made a few years ago, I remember there was some unbelievable on the run throws he made and roll him out of the pocket. Because let's be honest, Mr. Rogers, he's been getting hit more than a woman in an elevator this year.
Absolutely.
Defensive wise, the only thing I wonder about with the defense when it comes to the Packers is who's going to cover this Jordan Reed, who seems to be like out of his mind right now. This guy is like almost uncoverable.
He's not Gronkowski. You have to pick out a good safety to get out.
And I got put in here, the Skins, they're rolling right now. They're the hot team, are they the dark horse in the playoffs? I mean, any way you look at it, they do need to jump out early. Get a lead, get a lead. And not to mention, getting a lead doesn't mean, because how many times we've seen this year the Packers come back. I mean, the Hail Mary, so on and so forth. They need to have long drives and again keep Rodgers off the field. That's the only way you're going to beat these guys and take advantage of the matchup, which I think is in the center of the field. And I'm taking the Skins to wins 31-30. I think this game will be the best one. I think this game's going to end up being not only the nightcap, but probably the best game of the entire weekend. I think this game's going to live up to the billing.
Obviously, I would say you would agree with me that it doesn't matter. The winner of that game will be the first one out. Seattle stands more of a chance against the Panthers or the Cardinals than either of those two.
Yeah, but
against either one of them.
I mean, I think how it works out, if Seattle wins, they automatically go to Carolina. So then the winner of this would go to Arizona. And Arizona's been hot, but then they stumbled last week. And you say it all the time. You got to play the games, and you don't really know. I mean, for all you know, the Cardinals could come in there and they could
Just
stumble.
shut you out.
Yeah,
42 points.
yeah, more of that. I mean, I do think the Cardinals are probably the most complete team. That's what everybody keeps on calling. But the Panthers still find ways to win, you know, and they still got Superman, so you got to count them in it. Seattle seems to be on this defensive high right now, playing out in their mind, so you got to count them into this. On the flip side of the AFC, it seems like we're saying this is like a wide open year because the Patriots are hurt. Denver is not sure whether or not Manning can do it, if he's too old or this, that, and the other. You know, I just sent his wife some steroids, so I'm curious to see if I get a return to sender response. The Chiefs, they won 10. You know, is this Andy Reid's year? I don't know. I mean, it would be a great story. I'd love to see two different teams. I mean, how nice or not? It would be kind of nice to see. Could the Chiefs do this mysterious, miraculous run and get to the Super Bowl and play with Alex Smith? There's been worse quarterbacks than him in the Super Bowl. What's his name? The dime dude on ESPN. That asshole won a Super Bowl, didn't he? You know? Come on. So it's not that difficult to do this if you got a strong ass defense. I think the only team that can win this is the Texans. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl.
We would be remiss to all our Eagle fans if we didn't mention that Tom Coughlin's going to be interviewed by the Eagles for the coach.
No way, is he?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, you look at the man's track record. He's a good coach.
And he's always been in the NFC. He knows every team.
He's well, no, I thought at one time, wasn't he with Jackson?
He was with Jacksonville. I'm just saying, he goes back to the 70s and starting in the NFC East, and he just knows, you know,
who was it? Was it Strahan who may have said the one thing? It was either Strahan or another former player that was had the privilege of being coached by him. He brings stability to your team, and he, like he did with Jacksonville, like he did with Giants, he gets them back on the right track, and he seems to be, you know, he's a good. If your team's in like disarray, maybe like the Eagles or other teams out there, he's not a bad idea to bring in.
Right.
You know, he would. I think he would work at a place like Tampa. He would work at, he would work at these teams that are kind of a little bit disarray. Just need somebody to come in and just get everybody back on the right track again. I like him as a coach.
And then another little slip of news for our Dolphin fans. Our producer won't like this, but I already warned her. They are hot after her quarterback coach, Adam Gase, and he's either already done it or he's going to do it tomorrow or something.
Really?
He's doing his second Dolphin interview, which usually leads to.
They're another team. I mean, if they got some talent on that team, especially from the defensive side.
You know, and the thought there is what he did with Cutler and he could do with Tannehill. You know.
Maybe. I mean, I think if you can get them to establish a running attack and you make Tannehill's attempts go down a little bit, you got a shot there.
My only question with the guy is, you know, he's only 37 years old. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I mean, you can give him a job, that's fine. But I don't know anything about his personnel that he would use on defense. You know, who is his, you know, what man would he take with him? Who would be on the defensive side of the ball? Because he's an offensive kind of guy.
I just assume because he does what he wants anyway, wouldn't you just make him like a player coach, Dominic Sue? Just let him run the defense? Isn't that what they do that? Isn't that what you do with that knucklehead?
Just step on everybody.
How about, you gotta tell me you're not gonna bring up Chip. Where's the genius guy? Is he gonna just become, maybe he goes to ESPN and he gets his own segment, what a smart man would do. Or what do you think? This is what Chip would do. Let me chip away on my end.
There is not hands out all over the place with contracts looking for Chip.
I keep on hearing now he's going to, Tennessee, he's going to go get...
Tennessee's interviewing Doug Marrone now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I heard that's what the networks are saying, all those people who kissed his little booty for the last couple of years. Where is all the outcry for Chippy? Because nobody's been coming out asking, and wanting an interview with him.
Maybe that's the genius plan to play low and come in, he's on the down low. Now, it wouldn't be fair considering we're in Bear Country, even though he's not the coach any longer. What about Lovie? What about your boy, Lovie?
That, I know, I almost argued with you on just
I know.
texting back and forth. I don't believe the mentality of Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Cleveland Browns. You can't win by hiring and firing coaches every 2 years and getting different quarterbacks every other year, or every 3 games.
Yeah.
This is so stupid. They haven't figured out the formula yet.
No, well, I guess I probably didn't communicate it right because my communication skills suck, especially when it comes to writing down things. Thank you, Paulsboro High School, for my English education. I think that they only gave them, like you said, they only gave them 2 years. I do think, now we know why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are who they are. They have no patience. You got to give somebody a chance.
If I said it before on the show, I'm sorry, but I'll do it again. In an era where we have seen Brett Favre and Rodgers be the only 2 quarterbacks in Green Bay since '91.
Yeah.
They have had 27 or 28. The Cleveland Browns. Come on.
What? That's the Cleveland's just a joke. And Johnny, stay home. Don't come to Dallas. You can't handle Dallas, guys. You get to Dallas, you'll be in rehab before week 3. They'll have you in
Well,
rehab.
I didn't want to take you off, but I think he's doing it on purpose to leak his way into Dallas.
And guess what? If he goes
I
down,
really
like I
do.
said, by week 3, the reports will be out. He will be out all night partying. Somehow or another, he'll convince the gate guy to let him into the stadium, and he'll be in there with a bunch of dirty ass girls who'll be doing coke on the freaking star right in the middle of the football field. I can see that. I can see it. Johnny, stay away. Don't do it, Johnny.
Your original question to me was about Lovey. Now there's a bunch of open positions out there, and any team should just jump out there and give him a chance, especially before Chippy, because he was actually turning Tampa Bay around.
He's another one. He brings stability to the team.
Yes.
Now, Tampa obviously didn't have that many results, but he also didn't have all that much to play with as well. Now you give him Winston, who apparently has completely turned around. From what I understand, he's actually paying for things now. There's no bad checks being written, and he's staying away from.
The fish is staying in the market.
Yeah, he's staying away from Red Lobster. He's smart. He went across the street to Olive Garden. He's getting free breadsticks. He figures I don't have to steal no more. I just come here all the time.
Since my partner here gave everybody tips early in the show, I got one for you. I play by an $800 million lotto card, so don't bother going out just to win the race.
Could you imagine? What do you do if you win all that money?
Well, we're going syndicated, buddy.
Tell me about it. We'll be right sitting right next to him, like whether he likes it or not.
We're going to have our own network that's going to rival ESPN.
I'll tell you what. Well, we still have to listen to the producer with this whole 15-minute thing.
Yeah, probably.
Gee, money can't buy you that.
But you get powder treatment then.
That's true.
Stuff
We
we
can do
don't-
makeup. We'll
yeah.
go to makeup then. I can't wait to be.
You'll get even better looking
Man.
each week. Like
Me
you
and
get now.
mascara, come on.
Yeah.
Think about that, people. Put me all makeup up with this outfit on. Yeah.
All those who know him were greeted with a picture of him this week with hair. It was something to marvel.
Did you see that? Yes, that was, I don't even know what year that was, but it was a long time ago, unfortunately, when I was real cool. Now, unfortunately, here I am now wearing wigs. Times have changed. I went, as my mom would say, I went from Johnny Cool to Johnny Fool.
We're sorry we didn't get too much into anything else. Like we know that hockey, it's pretty much laid out the same. Your good teams are doing it. The Capitals have the best record. They only have 7 losses. But your majors are all on there. They were there last year. What are we 4 or 5 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting for spring training? So
The only thing I can say, I think I say it all the time when it comes to hockey, it's a shame. It's the most competitive sport out there. It's wide open. Anybody can win. It's a shame people don't watch it more. I've been reminded because I don't think we say it enough on the show. Make sure you go check us out on Facebook. There's some pictures on there. Apparently, maybe some silly pictures of myself, and probably some serious ones of you. Since I tend to be the goofy clown guy. You can check us out on Twitter. I try to tweet as much as I possibly can. My tweets.
yeah, each week this guy gets closer to me. What's going on here?
I think it's the mask. I think you're digging that mask. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy your playoff weekend. Have a good one.
Have a good one, everybody.